Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of Where I Went Wrong. And in this edition of Where I Went Wrong, I'll be doing Where I Went Wrong, UFC London. So not a whole lot went wrong here. I went, 10 of 13 or 11 of 13. I think it was 12, 10 of 12. So 10 wins, 2 losses. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, I know I only got 2 losses. Yeah, I think it's 10 out of 10 out of 12, 10 and 2. Solid card. And with the 2 I went wrong with, I feel like they were foreseeable. Molly McCann getting a knockout? No. Molly McCann winning? Yes. Makwan Americani winning? Yes. Makwan Americani winning by submission? Yes. And what did he choke? Was the Anaconda choke? Yes. So all those things were very much within Makwan Americani's victory, path. Molly McCann, her winning was nothing crazy. Her winning by knockout, that was not foreseeable. She's more of a decision fighter. She don't really hurt nobody with punches, but she was hurting her. Hurting Carolina the whole fight, and ultimately Cordova was spinning with elbow back fist got her out. But yeah, that was the knockout. Not really foreseeable, especially not in that way. But her winning was not unforeseeable. But I think with this one, like I said, not a whole lot to really draw from. Matter of fact, this about to be the quickest Where I Went Wrong video ever because it's like not a whole lot to really draw from, or not a whole lot wrong. But I guess the thing is, just stick to them patterns and don't try, to reach out of it. Like in some cases you can reach, but sometimes don't reach. I don't feel like Luana Carolina was such a bad pick necessarily, but hey, it went wrong. It went by knockout, so that's terrible. But it wasn't such a bad pick. It's not like it was a pick I was super, super, super confident. I think I was the lowest confident pick I had on the whole card, and I put it in the video, put it in the description. So it wasn't a case of like, oh, I said bet on this. And I wasn't super high on Grundy either. I'm saying, oh, go bet on him. All the best I went through, all the best I said people to bet on went through. Like if when people asked, went through. So solid card. And no matter how you look at it, I wasn't very wrong in very much of anything. So yeah, but these 2 were foreseeable. For McCann, what she's typically gonna lose to is women that like bigger than her, which Carolina was. But for the most part, I'm just gonna say what the thing is. When she loses, most times she's getting out grappled. That's the most case. Definitely when she steps up and fights better striker, she's gonna get mixed up. But at this level, when you pick her to lose, it's most likely going to be to a better grapple. That's for those cases. Like, they're going to take her down controller or take her down and tap route, or they're just going to be better in every area. Like what's most recent loss she just had, where she got out struck, she got out grappled, got out wrestled, everything. It's going to be those type of cases. Not going to be a case where it's just a woman that's like a matter of fact, not even mid, like a low tier woman that's kind of just more of a striker. Those people are typically not going to beat her, especially unless they're no exceptional striker. Those people are not going to beat her. So. But Luana Carolina held her own pretty well. But ultimately, when she started, turning up and, turning around, got a little lackadaisical out there, got caught spinning back elbows, spinning back fists, got knocked out. Cold. So, yeah. But when you go with Molly McCann, she's going with a solid grappler, easy money, pick her, a better grappler than her, solid grappler, better than her, decent enough around the skill set, they're going to beat her. Put money on it, lock bet almost right there. Damn near lock bet, if not lock bet. Bet the house. But you're going there with like iffy striker or iffy fighter in general that she can outwork, outmaneuver. She's gonna beat them in most cases. Matter of fact, yeah, in most cases. Not lock bet, high bet, but not lock bet. So that one should have just stuck with the pattern. Like Luana Carolina, yes, her takedown defense was looking solid, and yes, she had that win over what's her name, Lupi Godinez, and whatever the case may be. But Godinez was coming on short notice in upper weight class, and Godinez has not really shown to be what the level of Molly McCann necessarily yet, because Molly McCann has been around, she's been developing. Lupita Godinez on her side has like still very much a freshman out there. And also coming from a lower weight class on short notice. Giving a lot of weight and a lot of stuff. And it's a whole different thing, but yeah. With Molly McCann, just stick to where it's like, unless you're going up with, really jumping up and fighting one of the better strikers in the weight class, in most cases, pick her against a iffy striker at a lower case, like, so that was a clear pattern. That went off pattern to bet, or not bet, but to pick. I didn't bet on Carolina. I didn't put in a parlay. I didn't put an individual bet. It was just a bet. I mean, not bet. It was just a pick, to fill the card out. Like I'm gonna predict every single fight. Am I gonna bet on every single fight? No, I'm gonna predict every single fight. And this was like I said, the lowest confident on any pick I had. It was just like, just throw in there. Like I feel pretty good on most of these picks right here. So let me try to make a little bit of reach on this one. In most cases, when I do that reach and stuff, it always ends up on where I went wrong. A little bit of reach or a lot of a reach, it ends up on where I went wrong. But yeah, with Makwan Americani, he typically loses to well-rounded guys like Arnold Allen, well-rounded guys like Arnold Allen, or he loses to guys that maybe like strikers that have real solid takedown defense and they can extend him later than stop him, or just extend him and then take advantage of a tired back when Americani. But if you're gonna go out there, you're like a wrestler, not really got a lot of jiu-jitsu behind you. You're just more so of a wrestler, a pure based wrestler. You got a little bit of jiu-jitsu, but you're not really jiu-jitsu based, or like you can be a wrestler, but you be a jiu-jitsu based wrestler. Like these guys, they form their wrestling with their BJJ, or they BJJ they form with their wrestling and they make it work. But you're just like a pure wrestler kind of out there, like Grundy is. You just dive into his wheelhouse and you'll end up in the anaconda, which he has caught a lot of guys. And like I said, pasty white guys, bald and grappling based. But I wasn't really liking the momentum of Americani. But hey, he can get up on any day against these bald, pasty white guys that's looking to take him to the ground, or at least looking to tangle with him on the ground. He gonna get you an anaconda. And you look at his resume, look at the people fight, they all look like Grundy. That he catching those anacondas. So once again, I think it was probably the quickest anaconda he got to, was like 40 seconds. But yeah, nonetheless, it was a pattern there. But I just kind of went with the momentum. Not that Grundy had necessarily the most momentum. And like neither guy had a high rate on the feet, so both guys relied on mixing it up to win, or at least relied on that grappling heavily to win. They weren't guys that go out there necessarily. I mean, Americani had some little flashy knockouts here and there, but for the most part, he gets his job done on the ground. Grundy, for the most part, he just grinds you out on the ground. He might got like one knockout, two knockouts, but not a technical striker. More so a guy that's gonna just smother you with his wrestling. That's what was the case with that. But yeah, that's where I went wrong on those two picks. In both of those cases, I should have just stuck to the pattern, or just looked a little bit deeper and just saw like, or just acknowledged what I already acknowledged and just stuck with like patterns. Grappler versus grappler, a wrestling-based grappler that's not really a jiu-jitsu grappler, gonna get tapped up by Americani. A striker that doesn't really have the most, not really any offensive grappling, don't really got the biggest arsenal, not really an accomplished fighter, not really a super experienced fighter, upper echelon, or any like established fighter necessarily in this weight class. Go with McCann. So just stuck to the patterns and could have had a perfect card, really. And then I guess outside of that, Dan Hooker, I was really spot on outside of him getting washed like that. And now it's like, in the last 4 fights, there were 3 losses and they were all in the first round embarrassingly. Got knocked out in the first round by Chandler, got submitted in the first round by Makhachev, and now got TKO, standing TKO by Arnold Allen. Yeah, like I said, 45 is no longer his weight class. It was been not his weight class. He was all right and he was good in the weight class, but he went up to 55 and had his whole career shift around. He went from like an afterthought at 45, went up to 55, was big, was fast, was technical, and like he was doing things. He was riding the division fast. Then he obviously ran into the upper echelon and realized he was not that. Outside, I mean, he did that good Poirier fight and looked the part of being a guy that was upper echelon, but then further more fights and just clearly showed that he was not that. But I feel like his best weight class, I feel like even 170 would do him better than 45. So he should just leave 45 alone. Don't need to make himself look like a drained out kangaroo. So either just stick at 55 or go to 170. Either way, don't think he's championship material at the UFC level. I don't see him definitely don't see him being no champion at 170. Don't see him being no champion at 55. Definitely don't see him being no champion at 45. I see him getting comfy 6 at 45. 55, he can stick around. 70, he can stick around for a little bit, but he's not championship material, I see. But hey, prove me wrong, but clearly you've been proving me right now. Especially tonight, or last night. But yeah, Hooker's 45 was a bad move for him. You already knew what 45 did to you, or your history in 45. Don't go back. 55 had treated you way better. And if 55 done with you, maybe go 170, maybe done with the UFC and go some other league and try to make the most of your money, or make the most of your career as far as financially, and just use your UFC veteran tag and the fact that you went so hard with Poirier, you went so hard with what's his name, the Irish Dragon, Paul Felder, went hard with him. A couple of these guys, like, you went hard with them in these fights, beat Paul Felder, etc. And maybe get you like $1 million a fight, something like that. Or maybe $500,000 a fight, $600,000 a fight, just based off your name in the UFC. Don't diminish your name so much by getting washed in these fights in the first round. Every time you try to fight a guy that's pretty decent now, because it hasn't been a good look. 3 of his last 4 losses in the first round, dominant fashion. That's really take away your name now. People gonna try to get you at a bargain. But he probably could be some decent guys, but he's got to play his cards right. Or maybe he not want to play his cards right. Maybe he wants to I want to be the best, or I don't want to be here. And retirement's what's next for him, because it's looking slimmer and slimmer with each fight, with each quick, dominant, embarrassing loss. And then main event, Tom Aspinall, I say second round, but he got it in the first round. So Tom Aspinall looking like a beast. And another guy, all of a sudden we were seeing like Gane just lose to Ngannou, and Ngannou showed the wrestling. And we're like, who gonna beat Ngannou now? Who gonna beat the man? And now we got Aspinall coming up, and we're like, oh, this guy could potentially beat Ngannou. This guy's a clean boxer, much more technical than Ngannou on the feet. He got wrestling, got jiu-jitsu. So Rogan looked like he had jiu-jitsu, but Aspinall is actually I said division, second degree black belt in BJJ. A pretty solid doing that, and like this guy actually has BJJ. I mean, like, Gon does not have BJJ, but he don't have it to the level or the skill that Aspinall has. He doesn't have the wrestling that Aspinall has, so a whole different ball game. So we got another actual threat for Ngannou. We think he was like he beat the best guy there for him, like another guy that could potentially be even more dangerous has established himself just like that. I mean, that's the nature of the game, and another big fight for him. But I guess it's gonna be an interim fight, another big fight for Jon Jones potentially. But Jon Jones probably gonna duck it. He don't want to fight no real solid heavyweight unless he probably get like 10 mil to 20 mil, then he'll take the risk. But the UFC ain't willing to pay him that. So yeah, we're not gonna see Jon Jones probably gonna stay retired or to go back to like heavyweight or test free agency because Aspinall looking scary out there. Matter of fact, that's probably a nightmare matchup for Jon Jones because you might feel like this guy's a dangerous matchup for Jon Jones, but a big boxer with a second degree black belt in BJJ, that's probably the worst matchup for Jon Jones. Ngannou, that power a monster for everybody, but we actually had skill behind it. I feel like Aspinall is actually the worst matchup for Jon Jones at heavyweight. So Gon's a dangerous matchup, and Ngannou's a dangerous matchup. A lot of these guys are dangerous matchup, but I feel like Aspinall, low-key, I mean, not even low-key, high-key, stylistically wise, is the most dangerous guy for Jon Jones. But then again, Jon Jones has that experience, and Aspinall has never fought a guy with the skill of Jon Jones, and anybody that steps in with Jon Jones has never fought a guy with the skill level of Jon Jones. So Jon Jones might got a little bit of tricks, but we'll have a lot of tricks, a lot of eye pokes, a lot of short elbows, knees to the nuts. And, he can find ways to win. He'll make it interesting, but again, for that amount of money, he probably gonna be ducking unless they give him like 30, 40 mil, and then he like, hey, I'll risk getting knocked out. I'll risk really taking a big fight if y'all pay me. And I feel like he deserves it, but does he really gonna earn it as far as like, pay-per-view vibes to people actually tuning in for that? I don't feel like mainstream people, they rather see McGregor get washed in 2 seconds by any given person and then slice up the 1 second he did where he do a jab that almost landed but was so pretty. They don't actually watch high-level MMA. They rather watch McGregor get humped and manipulated and just dominated than actually watch the good fights. But yeah, whatever the casuals want to watch, that's what they want to watch. And they clearly not that interested in Jon Jones. Maybe they probably gonna stream it, see him get potentially knocked out, or hope for him to get knocked out or something. Then they're gonna use that as a reason to say Khabib is the GOAT or something, or say McGregor would never or something, even though McGregor getting spanked and rolled like a dog by everybody. But yeah, that's the game. But I would love to see that fight. I want people just pay Jon Jones money. I want to, give him the opportunity to punk out. Give him the money he wants. It's not that crazy. The UFC gonna make it back. People gonna pay all that money to see McGregor get spanked around. So use that money to give the actual MMA fans and not the casuals a chance to see some real high-level MMA with like Jon Jones versus Ngannou, Jon Jones versus Ngan, Jon Jones versus Aspinall, some big heavyweight fight or something like that. Or any of these major fights. Well, it's not really that many big fights, but I feel like most of the big fights now involve Jon Jones or maybe Adesanya or something like that. But look to make some of these fights, these big fights. But yeah, and pay the people their money. Like I said, give Jon Jones the opportunity to make himself look like a punk by giving the money, him either faking an injury or ducking or rescheduling or saying he's not ready this or not ready that. But don't be trying to give him $5 million or $1 million or give him his regular contract to take a big risk. The man is like top 3, even with the asterisk on there. The man's still top 3, top 5 all time. So he deserved top 3, top 5 all time money. I'm not saying just pay him, give him a flat out contract, but negotiate something where he could do these big super fights or these big fights that are a big danger to maybe his legacy or his physical health. And yeah, like a couple of those, like the Gon, the Aspinall, the Ngannou, maybe even the Derrick Lewis in there, because Derrick Lewis is gonna be got some mainstream attention when his balls is hot and stuff. He's always exciting on the mic and stuff. Always exciting to watch, win or lose. So even that you could make some money off. Matter of fact, you can make the most money off him fighting Lewis, even though probably be most likely he's gonna win that pretty easily. People gonna tune in for that more so than they would tune in for a fight that actually gonna be a bigger threat to his legacy, or a bigger threat to him actually losing, like Aspinall or Gon or Ngannou. People probably tune in that more. You probably could pay them less, and you probably be more willing to take that. But we shall see. But anywho, Aspinall looking like a beast. Went out there, took really was one-sided from the start. Took him down easily both times. Set him up real nice, real smooth, straight arm lock, got him out of there. But Aspinall's a true star. Win or lose, if he does fight Ngannou, the man has a bright future ahead of him. I feel like if he doesn't beat Ngannou, I feel like he will at one point have his hand on the belt, whether it be interim. Matter of fact, I feel like he will be a unified heavyweight champion at some point in his career. Or I want to say, well, undisputed. It's not a unified. It's only one belt. But then again, when they have interims, but otherwise, he will be an undisputed heavyweight champion at some point in his career. And whether Ngannou retires, gets old, or whether Ciryl Gane and him kind of go back and forth for a little bit, I feel like at some point he will be an undisputed heavyweight champion. He just has all the skills, and I feel like he's in the right place at the right time to do that. I'm not saying that's going to be a guarantee he'll beat Ngannou, but I feel like it's a guarantee that the man will have a heavyweight title if he just sticks to doing what he's doing. Good head on the shoulder, good skills, and ever evolving. And that's the video. 2 Wrong went 10 of 12, 10 and 2, solid card, and gonna look to be just as good, if not better, the next card. And that's the video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.